Welcome to the student interview. Today we're joined by Max and of course me, Frederick. And in this interview, we just want to go over Max's journey together with us. Of course, also his business development, how he started out, where he's at right now, maybe also his some goals for the future and where he sees himself, what he's learned along the way, and overall just like get to know Max a bit more. So Max, bro, thank you so much for taking the time and welcome to this little interview here.
No worries, brother. Happy to be here, man.
Nice. I kind of cheated a bit and introduced you a bit, but can you give us a rundown to who Max is?
Yeah. Happy to do that, bro. So, who is Max Rooney? Good question, man. Well, I think I'm quite an average person, especially my upbringing, coming from quite an average home here in Denmark, and always kind of had the competitive spirit in me. Always wanted to compete in different sports, and felt through my upbringing I wanted to be independent. My father was always independent, so I always wanted to do something more in life. Always wanted that challenge, be the kind of boss of my own time and however cheesy it sounds, right? But I really wanted that, and I think that led me into exploring digital wealth creation from a relatively early age. I had an interest in it. I didn't really commit to it before I was in my late teens, and from there it went pretty fast, right? I got completely involved in the entire thing. I started with a few resources, got my first clients at the age of 17, and just continued to learn and evolve myself. I guess Max Rooney is someone who likes to take risks, which I think has been a big characteristic of my development. Someone who likes to put their back up against the wall, and always be in outside the comfort zone, always have some sort of pressure on you. I remember from an early age, I was always the type of guy who delivered my school assignments like literally 5 minutes before they had to be delivered. I always performed best under pressure, and when I got an eye opener into doing that in the business world, that's when I really started to excel. Right, so I've been working with Frederick and the boys for almost the last year, and that's really been a massive steps that I've taken. Before that, it kind of all led up to that point. Kind of got into my late teens, moved out at an early age, wanted that life pretty quickly, got my first job and had that fire building inside me like, I don't want 9 to 5, I don't want 9 to 5. And suddenly a big savings, I just blew that, quit my job and just wanted to go for it, right? And that's been like that for the last, I think, like 12, not even 12 months ago. I quit my job. I quit my job in May 2023. So
Yeah.
that's not even 9 months ago, right? And from there, we've tripled, quadrupled business, and I'm now fully independent, right? So I'm looking forward to all the chapters ahead. So I hope that gave a bit of an intro, man.
I think it's a good intro. And bro, I still remember because I think you joined in April, so like almost a year ago. And I remember that you texted me, like text message. Hey Frederick, it's Max here. I've seen your ads, I've seen your like short form society. Like, what are the next steps, bro? And I was like, talk to Alex, my man. And then booked in with Alex almost a year ago. I think you
Yeah,
joined when you didn't have any clients at that point, right? Like you had some experience in the space, but at that time you were still working full-time job, but you just wanted to start a
completely, man.
business, you know?
Yeah, like the whole branding and the way you guys were doing things just really caught my eye. Like especially the ad was like saying you didn't really get successful at SMMA, and I was in that boat completely, right. I had my first one client, which I did some website work for, and was just working my full time job. Had the savings saved up. I saw the ad and kind of saw who I felt you were representing, and I was just like, where do I send the money? Right. I was just so ready. So I literally tried to cold call my guy while he was in a meeting to just get the Stripe link now. Like I wanted to start work the same day, and I think I did as well. Alex hopped on the call,
Yeah.
amazing guy as well. So yeah,
I think it's safe because I think like looking back at you, Max, and your journey, I think that exact moment is like a true representation of you as a person. Like every time we told you to do something, you just did it. And every time you stumble upon something in your business, you just pushed through. Like it's just like go, 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 like risk taker, pushing through, always had that fire in you. So I think it summarizes you, and I think it's very, very cool. So I think
yeah,
like
man.
now, Max, 1 year later, like how's it looking now with your business and your personal situation and like how you feel and these kind of things? Like, can you give me a rundown of like the change and development that you've gone through in the past 10 to 11 months here?
Yeah, really, really good question, man. Like For me, 10 months ago, I quit my job and I was living like by myself in the apartment, had to pay rent at the same time. So big risk, was literally
Yeah.
living off savings, gave myself a few months to like figure things out. And I started to build massive experience. I didn't go full time immediately. It would have been a bit unrealistic because I needed to get some longer term client relations. So I got my clients, lost my first clients like during that kind of May, June era, June, July, just immersed myself completely, didn't have like a job. Then I took like some small digital, the same job I had, they offered me some virtual just work on their CRM system. And I kind of did that a few hours a week just to keep myself paying rent. And then I went fully independent into my business September, October. And yeah, from there we've been growing. I've been able to actually live off my business, which is something I'm really proud to be able to say. And at the moment, we just passed through 12K a month. Yeah, so it's been really the last 3 months, especially, been something that the business has pretty much doubled, tripled in the last 3-4 months. And now I'm looking at getting my first real team settled with like employees and stuff like that. So, but that's the financial side of things, really, and which I'm very happy to kind of very proud to say. But more so, it's been the personal, mental side of things, which has actually allowed me to become that person that can live off their business. Right? It's the risk that I took. I haven't always been the guy that just went for things. Like, yeah, I have had that fire inside me all the time, but I was very good at overthinking at some points, like coping and being a perfectionist and these things, which basically just are cope mechanisms, I
Yeah.
feel. And then I became, after that one day back in April, the guy that just went for shit and knew that I had to risk, get out my comfort zone. And that's been like, there's been a few times like that. Like, one was when I committed to the course. Then a few weeks after, I quit my job completely. I was like, I don't have
Yeah.
time to involve myself. Then next was yeah, then quitting my kind of part-time job, going fully into the business, and just continuing that relentless kind of back against the wall. So the personal side of things has really been what I have felt has allowed me to become that person. Right? I feel so much more. I don't know. It's sometimes I don't even get the time to sit back and reflect on the development that I've actually made, which I really was looking forward to do on this on this talk as well. But it's really been incredible, man. Because if I wouldn't be able to recognize myself like a year ago with the skills I learned and the person that I've become. So yeah, man, it's so cool.
It's sick. Like, how do you see the change in like Max 1 year ago and Max today? Like, in what kind of situations in life do you like feel the difference?
Like, it's like everywhere, really. Like the
Yeah.
entire, like I feel like I've become like a 2.0 version of myself, and now I'm looking towards that 3.0, 4.0.
Yeah.
You know the game. It's just game is game. We just keep on going and flowing and optimizing. But specifically 1 year ago, scenarios in life, I just feel like my personal relations, I feel a lot more true to myself. I feel like I'm actually the guy, or becoming the guy. I'm always becoming the guy, but I feel like a lot more like the person that
Yeah.
1.0 Max wanted to be in front of other people, like that kind of independent, not arrogant, but just confident in himself. I'm running my own business. Like, people, obviously congratulating me, and it's not the congratulations that really gives me any fire. It's just knowing now that I am representing the person I actually wanted to be 1 year ago, but that was like a person that's trapped inside of me, battling against myself. Just took the step, forced myself into the situation. But it's just personal relationships as well, man. It's like family, girlfriend, parents, as a bigger brother to my
Yeah.
sister, as like becoming the future version of myself, like long into the future, as like a father. I know that these steps here is going to be crucial towards becoming that person as well. So
Yep.
it's as much on a personal level, the way that I handle my relations, the way that I value my own time, the way that I'm very relentless about who I spend time with, and how it kind of contributes to who I want to be. Just, obviously you've got to be a bit more self-centered to some degree to make this development, but at the same time I also feel like I have so much more access to give to people. Like, when you're not the person you want to be, I almost felt
Mm.
like I couldn't give anything to other people because I was so worried about becoming that guy. Now I've become that guy. I had to prioritize and sacrifice a few things, but now I feel like so much more true to myself, which actually allows me to be a better person for everyone around me and give more of myself, because now I'm getting myself kind of where I want to be, right? If that makes any sense, right?
That makes perfect sense. Like
Yeah.
it makes so good sense, and it's the same thing that I've seen for myself. You know, the journey that you've been on, and like all of the side benefits, and then the revenue kind of like also suddenly represents that person that you become, and the actions and choices that you've done, and not just for a month, you know, but like for a long ass time. Both when it comes to like going to the gym, getting your outreach done,
Yes.
making your to-do list, going to bed, up again, these kind of things. Like it's just like relentless execution, and it's also the situation that you're in now. Like it just stacks proof and wins in terms of like you are that person that you're telling yourself that you are, and when you get that, it builds confidence, and then it's like the perfect loop to kind of be in. So I think it's sick. But obviously, you mentioned that it started a year ago. Like, can you remember what were the things that kind of like allowed you to like push through that barrier and then just like take the leap of faith, do it? Like, what were the thoughts? What were the process of like doing it? Because I think also thinking about my own journey, like the first step, bro, like it was the hardest step I've ever had to take in business. It was just like getting started. Do you have any
Yeah.
tips?
Yeah, the first step is definitely the hardest, but it's also the
Yeah.
one you look back upon and be the most proud over that
Yeah.
that you actually took. And I knew that when I did that, that it was going to be a pivotal moment. It was
Yeah.
like I had a stable job, a stable income. I had room to grow inside the company. It was a fast growing small company. I could get more responsibility, really good relation with my boss. And I just shocked him, and I just said, you know,
Yeah.
I'm gonna quit. Like, it's like, what the hell? But he always, then he said in the end that he always knew that I wanted more, and that, I guess, summed it up very well. I always knew that that risk that I took was going to lead me to somewhere closer to the person I wanted to become, right?
Yeah.
Financially, the parents, everything, how you're going to pay rent, blah, blah, blah. That was all a lot of risk and a lot of smoke, but I knew deep down that it would lead me to somewhere closer to what I want to become. So the thought process was actually quite easy. I just had to look myself in the mirror and just be real with myself. I was
Yeah.
kind of coping a bit, and I was living very comfortably in my early 20s in an apartment, and meals cooked, and rent paid, and pay wages coming in and stuff like that, and it was very comfortable. But I just reminded myself of who do we want to become, and like, when is it going to be, like, if not today, then when? Like, the best
Yeah.
time to start and make those decisions is like yesterday. So you just got to give yourself affirmations that is that aligning with the person you want to become. Yes, there's risk involved, but what's the worst case? Like, the worst case would have been that I had to move back and live with my mom, and get like cook meals and wash clothes and these things, and that wouldn't have been so bad either, right? But I would have taken that one step closer to becoming my own boss, running my own business. So I knew I had to get out of it really quick. But it was difficult. It was really difficult. It took me probably a few weeks more than I wanted it to have,
Yeah.
mostly because I was thinking like, oh, I'm almost betraying my boss and whatever. But my boss is running a business, man. He doesn't really care. Like, he was just acting in the best terms of the business, and me leaving as a young teenager wasn't actually going to make a big difference for the business in the long run, right? As much as he talked me up to being the next up and
Yeah.
coming star, and whatever. So when I did it, it was the biggest relief, and it just gave me a catalyst into where I am now. Like, if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have been near enough where I am today. So it might just be a reminder to everyone that if they feel like something's pulling them and they have that gut feeling, but they're
Yeah.
letting risk and emotion stop them from doing it, they should really check themselves and be real with themselves and ask themselves what the worst thing that can happen, and how would I what the thing I like to do, and I'll end it on that question you asked, is that what's the worst possible thing that can happen, and what's the best possible thing that can happen, right?
Yeah.
So will you allow the best possible scenario that can happen to disappear and leave, to stay safe and avoid the worst case scenario? And for me, it was like, this was the worst case, and the upside was just like this big,
Yeah.
right? So
Exactly.
that just gave me I'm young, and when you're young, you got to take risk if you really want to be significant. So, but it was definitely tough. But I also just knew deep inside that I had to do that, really. And people who know, they know, they just got to do it. It's
Yeah.
really simple.
It's so true, and it's the best way of explaining it, right? Like it's just logical thinking. When you have a problem or solution that is coming up, it's like, what is the best? What is the thing that I want? What is the best possible vehicle to get there if hits the fan, what is the worst possible outcome? And then you just do the equation and make the math, and then you take the decision based on those parameters.
Logic.
But it's really good. Like it takes a lot of guts to like go through that, right? That go through that equation. So I think good, but it's good that you now can look back and like analyze what were the thought process that I had and what were the action steps that I
And I'm
took,
always, yeah, I'm
because
always
you
gonna make
use that
that
every single
move.
day now as well, right? Like for example, when you're about to hire your first employee, like it's very scary. You've never done it before. What kind of business is it that you want to run? Well, a big business. And what does a big business have? Employees. What is the worst possible outcome? If it doesn't go well with the employee, well, maybe we drop in revenue or something's happened, then I'll just have to let him go. And then worst case scenario is that I'm max right now, chilling at 12K per month. I'm still
Yeah,
good, you know?
yeah,
So I
true.
think it's good that you learned that lesson, especially from a young age. Like it's very, very good.
Take the brave choice always.
Always, 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 always. You'll always, like the pain of regret that you'll feel from not doing it in 5 or 10 years time when you get that bill. Ah, damn, I'm not, I'm not fucking doing that. You
Bro,
know?
imagine knowing deep inside you really want to do something and it's going to
Yeah.
be aligning with the person you want to be, but being scared of actually doing it. That's
Whew.
terrible. That's
Yeah, that is
terrible,
a
man.
tough spot to be.
Yeah,
But I think it's cool that we can then have this talk, right? Because as you said in the beginning, you're average, a very average guy. I am just as
completely, man.
average as you are. You know, like we've also met at the mastermind at events and these kind of things. It's just two dudes, right? Like we could also be on this chat here talking about video games or going out or whatever.
Completely,
You
man.
know, it's just two average guys that had a dream, took a choice with a lot of risk, and then just pushed through for a long enough period of time for the results to show themselves, right? So I think it's sick,
So
and
true.
hopefully people will learn a lot, especially just taking the risk. It doesn't really matter what it is, right? Like as long as they just do something. If they have something and they want to go get it, you have to do what it takes. So I think that's sick.
Mm, yeah.
And yeah, what about like relationships? You also mentioned that how that has changed. Like I know that you have found some good people through short form society, and you also moved in with Mikkel, and now you're living, and you know, fucking like
That's crazy.
how does the next few months look for you?
Yeah, yeah. Like I like to talk about the community first, man, because you just mentioned that. And for me, I've always said that becoming a part of these type of societies and other societies and networking groups and just social circles that I've been a part of has been such a massive factor for me in my development. Like, I always I do speak with some of my older friends, quote unquote, and it's also great to have some time with them and be
Yep.
that type of person and chill or whatever. But it's just been amazing. Like investing in myself, now looking around and I'm sitting like at a meeting table with like three killers in the space. And I'm like, damn, like I belong on this table. I've taken the actions to actually sit here. And sometimes I kind of catch myself and 1.0 Max goes like, you're sitting here, or you're visiting the boys in Dubai playing paddle, or you're sitting around a meeting room with 4 or 5 killers, and you belong here. And sometimes you
Yeah.
catch yourself because the community just it's so cliche, but you are really the sum of the people you spend the most time with. And I have deliberately, through investing in myself, now spending time with people that align with the values and the goals that I have. And I even moved in with one of them, right? Which
Yeah.
is going to be a massive propeller for me. I'll talk on that as well. But just being around these type of people, going for runs with some of them in the weekend, just speaking that type of life and the meaning that I really want, it's just allowed me to be a lot more true to myself. I really felt seriously, even back like in high school here in Denmark, I was always very socially cohesive and could speak with people and go to that party, but I never really felt true to myself when
Yeah.
doing it. Like I just didn't, and I think a lot of people have that feeling, but they just cope and just trying to tell themselves that that's the right thing or whatever, and then they might eventually end up becoming that person, unfortunately. But who knows? Like I just really started acting who I was and being around those people, and it gave me so much more happiness and just meaning
Yep.
or meaning around those people. So I love the community. It's been such a big part for me, and the next months look completely incredible, man. Like now I'm moved in with I've got a housemate that I've met through courses and consultants or whatever through
Yep.
network, and we just match really well, and we're just going to be going into complete focus, having that massive accountability with each other, going into full grind mode to make these big steps in the next development of really getting to the top of the game. Um, and it's just the most amazing feeling. Like I knew the fact, like we didn't even really talk about it. We just looked at each other, and it's just one of those decisions where you know, like you got to do
Yeah.
this, and it was just one of the best feelings ever. And I feel so thankful. I'm so thankful that Max 1.0 actually made those decisions to now be in an apartment
Yeah.
and like a studio type of office apartment, and now just living with a killer, grinding on my own mission to have those long-term goals for myself and future family and relations around me and making people proud. And that's the best part of it, man, really. I know that you've also had a few milestones in your personal life that you've provided to people around you and made them proud, and that's really what I aspire to as well. I think that's like the ultimate goals. It's just becoming that version of yourself that people and the closest to you around you are proud of, and living true to yourself. So the next 2 months look really insane. Like I've deliberately gone into a period now of complete growth. We're calling it war mode, which is just like monk mode, but just like adding more pain and being in the trenches like 100%. And I just love it, man. Like I it's boring. There's no dopamine, but I know that that's what the least people do. And if you want a different output, you're gonna do different input, right? And that's what we're doing right now. So it's looking amazing, man. I can't even. There's so many plans. It's just a lot of hard work and fuels me so much. Like so.
I think it's like the fact that you moved in together and these kind of things. It's just like it's the steps again where you like take them because you
It's another
know
milestone.
that you'll
Yeah.
grow, right? Like you know for a fact that shit, this is tough, but I do it because I'll grow. Right. And I think it's some very good goals that you have, especially for your family, and you're very like you're so true to who you are and who you're becoming. And that's like one of your biggest strengths, probably, right? Because you can just like
Thanks, bro.
you can vision it so clearly where you're going and you take every decision based off that, and then you can basically do anything in life, right? But I think also with all of the things that you're doing with like scaling the business and friends and network and like people counting on you, like how do you deal with all of these responsibilities, right? Because I remember for myself that it's not something that you learn in life to like take this responsibility, deal with it, and how to act upon it. So like, how do you deal with this responsibility of running a business and your family knows what you're doing and you are open about your goals to them and they can depend on you moving in war mode? Like how do you deal with the responsibility of taking and making all of these choices?
Yeah, it's a really good question, man. I definitely feel like in this term of personal growth and self-improvement, when you become more powerful, more influential, or you level up financially or personally, you do take on more responsibility. With more power comes more responsibility and more like accountability to the people around you. Um, that's really like the part that pushes me the most, right? Like I realize now it's not just for me. It's not just, when I'm
Yeah.
going to get this first employee and stuff like that. It's going to push me even more because now people are seriously accountable to me. And that's also a part of my development that's been so crucial. I've deliberately chased accountability and responsibility in the form of social
Yeah.
contracts and putting myself out there. I know that you've done this as well, like to a massive extent. I know how much you know deep inside for yourself, how much it's pushed you. But if you aren't willing to go out there seriously and tell the world who you want to be, the world's not going to give it to you. Like that,
No.
that's so simple. Like if you're not willing to step outside that comfort zone, tell whoever in your network, tell your family that I want to do this, you're not going to get it because you're not going to be starting to take action as if you actually are going to become it. Like it's just like you guys talked about, like running a marathon with a TV crew or by yourself, keeping it a secret. It's the same thing, right? Like I deliberately from day one, I remember my first reel. You can go in and check it out in the bottom of my Instagram. Me actually saying that I quit my job and it's the scariest decision I've ever taken, blah, blah, blah. And I just, from day one, I quit my job. I put a reel up, my first reel. It was so scary and I was so nervous. But the moment I uploaded that, the world just changed
Yeah.
like that. Like
Man.
everything just changed. All my paradigms about the people that I thought would care, they just disappeared on that one
Yeah.
upload button. The next reel was just 5 times as easy. And the big paradigm shift happened there. I quit my job and I posted about telling people that I quit my job. And that was the big fact that I told people about it. I didn't just quit my job and keep it a secret and work in the apartment. I actually posted a reel to all my old community. I told my mom, I told girlfriend's family, I told my grandparents, I told my aunt, aunt,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
going for this, I want to run like, how the heck am I not going to be able to run my own business now? Like, I've
True.
got too much pride in myself as a person now not to give myself 110%. So it's speaking your reality into existence, and it's putting out those social contracts, and you just got to deal with it, right? With more power, with more influence comes more responsibility, and I know I want a lot of responsibility, and I know that's what pushes you, right? So how I deal with it is I deal with it because I tell myself that I want it, really. So I just gotta deal with it, right? It's like, you wanted this, you wanted more responsibility, you want to be someone for someone else, and want to be that guy for your family and the people who are around you. Of course, you're going to have more responsibility than someone working a 9 to 5, and just chilling, right? But I want that. I want to be significant. I knew that from an early age, for my own security and my family's security and everyone else, and all these reasons I
Yeah.
have for it. Just being independent. Responsibility is something that you have got to chase. You've not just got to want it and accept it. You've got to really want to chase it by actually telling people, I want responsibility. I want
Yeah.
responsibility. I'm that guy. I'm that guy, right? And then it comes and slaps you in your face, and suddenly you have an employee and you're reliable for 7 clients or something like that. And
Yeah.
then you've got to then the test comes, right? Then the
Yeah.
test comes. Like, and I'm in the period right now where I'm being tested daily, and you probably are as well. Like, with your growth,
Yep.
of
Never
course,
ends.
never ever ends. And the test is a
Nope.
daily thing, and that's what proves if you are the guy you say you are. And that's when you
Facts.
walk the talk. And
Yep.
that's when you become the guy. You don't become the guy by saying shit in the mirror and saying shit to your aunt. That puts you in a position to perform. I think you get what I'm saying. That
Yep.
forces you to perform, but then the shit hits the fan, and now you are that guy, right? So responsibility, chase it, love it,
Yep.
love the challenges. When shit goes wrong, I just say
Fuck it.
nice, I just smile, and then I just deal with it, because that's when I need to step into my person and my being, and where I have to rise upon above the
Yep.
challenges, right? So I love
Exactly.
it, man. I
That's
love it.
good. Learn to love it. And the cool thing is that it comes in steps as well.
Yeah.
So sometimes you barely even notice it, right? Like there's of course the milestones where it's like it really flips a
Mhm.
switch in you, like taking on responsibility of making the business succeed, posting that reel, telling everyone you know. Right. There's of course the milestone of you hitting a certain revenue goal in your business. It's like, damn, I have a lot of clients that needs me, these kind of things. Yep. Yeah, exactly. And then of course, like another step, like the employee, right? So, but like for example, me, like we have 12 full-time people now, and if I would have told myself this a year ago, I'll probably have died from stress, right? But now I'm just, when I think back, it just happens so naturally because, as you said, it's just like embracing responsibility and development every single day. And suddenly, you probably also have to do this. You mentioned that yourself, like take a step back and reflect, right? Damn, it all happened so fast. Now we're here. Take a Sunday off just to like think of things, and I think that is good. And I like the way you said it, like the way that you have your thoughts and beliefs. That is what creates your actions, right? The way that you think of yourself and the way that you act upon stuff that turns into actions, and then your
Mm.
actions over a long enough period of time turns into your reality. So
Yep.
it isn't that crazy that you are where you are today, right? Because we just learned about how you think, how you perceive yourself, the goals you have. And
Yep.
all of that, you just put it into relentless action. And now you're here. It's not rocket
Mm.
science that you are running the business that you run, but you owe
Yeah.
it to yourself. And that is the coolest fucking thing. It's like, that's me, you know?
Yeah.
I am
Exactly.
that guy.
Exactly. Yeah, it's incredible. You are your actions, and definitely
Yep.
it's an action in itself to tell people what you want to do and what your actions
100%.
is going to be. It's just breaking that barrier of sharing it to the world. That's
Yep.
going to propel 9 out of 10 people to a level that most people aren't, because it also comes with a lot of uncomfort to stand out, especially in somewhere like Denmark, right, where everyone just
Yep.
has to be average and you can't expect to be better than anyone else, etc., etc. Danish people will know, but it is also like that in many other countries, just as a baseline. Like, people don't want to stand out. They're in social circles. They just kind of be average and be happy. But that's the big step. Telling the world about it, and then taking the actions that you told the world you're going to take. And then
Yep.
shit just comes by itself.
It
It's
does.
insane.
Yep. It is. It's pretty cool how the universe works. Huh? You get rewarded for the shit you do. Thankfully. It's not luck. There's nothing involved. It's just cause and effect, you know. That's sick, Mac.
Really, man.
Like, is there anything that you'd like to add? I think we went on for like 30 minutes here. I think it's been really, really good. Do you have anything that you
Same.
like want
Time
to
flies.
that you want to go over, or something that you kind of missed, or is there anything you want to add?
I feel like now sometime I had to add something inspirational or something sick, but I
Something
don't
crazy.
actually have I don't actually have too much. I just feel like saying that as much for myself, watching this in 5 years, I really expect of myself to keep on this trajectory and keep on
Yep.
acting towards the things that I don't want to do on a daily basis, because it's about delaying gratification. We live in a world where everything is so instant. That's
Yep.
why everyone is so satisfied, or they have this belief of being satisfied, or this false stimulation. But I just expect of myself to just execute. I expect of us to have this conversation in 5 years again, or a few years in the future, catching up towards the end of our 20s, having a amazing convo about how the last 5 years has been. And if anyone out there has watched this until the end, I just want to encourage everyone out there to just do something for themselves and really analyze what do they want, who do they want to become, and then align your actions towards being that person, right? Because most cases, 9 out of 10 times, your actions actually aren't aligned with the person you truly want to become. And if you're at
Yep.
a young age, you probably still have the time to realize, but people get indoctrinated, and to some extent, then they end up being in some false reality of existence where their dreams are now suppressed, their fire is shut off.
Yep.
So be scared of that, right? Be scared of not actually fulfilling yourself and becoming the guy you want to become. I'm scared of that. I'm not paranoid, but I'm not scared to not succeed, but I'm paranoid not to be the full best version of myself, right? So I
Yep.
expect a lot of myself, and I always will. You will too, bro. Yeah, damn. So appreciative of this conversation. Can't wait to look back
Same.
on it. And yeah, just go kill it, smash it, man.
Love it. I think it was a very, very good interview and some very good insights, Max. And I think we did an interview like 6 or 7 months ago, and like it's absolutely crazy how much that you've changed, right? In a very, very
Okay.
positive way. Like the way that you speak, the way that you portray yourself, your thoughts. Now your business also
Appreciate that,
reflects
man.
it, right? So think
Yeah.
just keep it up because you're on the right track. So if you can now just like delay the gratification, keep putting in the work, you can literally do anything in life, and I promise you that. So we're just happy that we were a part of it, and I know we'll continue to be so. And I'm looking forward to see where you end up, and it's going to be
Yeah.
amazing. And to
Stop wasting time,
everyone, yeah, stop
everyone.
wasting time.
Stop wasting time, because it's not only your place in life that
Yep,
you're deciding. It's also the future versions of yourself and your family that inspires me as well. So stop wasting time, stop fucking around, become the person you know you can be, and take action towards it, man. I love it.
exactly, exactly. Preach. So I think if the person who watched this made it till the end, big respect.
Yeah.
You can find all Max's socials linked below. I know he's a very helpful guy. So if you have a question about life or business, you can just send Max a message. I know that he'll get back to you. He's also played a good factor in the community of short form society by helping people. So it's just in his nature. So I think you can send him a message, follow him. He's also sharing content. It's non-negotiable for him to fucking share his journey. So please give Max all the love. If you're a student interested, or not a student, but a coming student interested in learning more about short form society, there's also a lot of links below. So just check them out.
Yeah. If you like the yap, check out the YouTube as well. I yap a
Yep,
lot. So
check
let's
out.
go.
Everything will be linked. Everything will be linked. All the yapping, all the. It's really good.
Crazy, man. Yeah, I appreciate
Perfect,
it.
Max. Thanks a lot for the interview, brother. And thank you to the
Always,
person who
bro.
watched it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Perfect.